Boom, boom. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As I get here, I'm going to be bringing to you the 9th day of the House Legion League. Now, it's been quite a few of these. I do think we've seen a storm of siege weapons, or not siege weapons, artillery being placed down by all teams, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But we have, of recent, seen a little bit of a wind down from the attackers from using artillery. I do think that the defenders' usage of artillery has drastically increased, while the attackers' usage of artillery has actually decreased, because they are hitting somewhere around the 20 to the upper 20-ish number of artilleries on average, I would say. But there are quite a few games where they're kind of getting stuck somewhere kind of like in the mid-teens, so around about 15, 17. Not very many artilleries coming out from the attackers, but the defenders definitely, on average, I think they're throwing out artillery quite a lot. I think if they don't empty, they're pretty close to it, so it's like mid-20s, definitely throwing out that artillery. So I do think the pacing of the game kind of is dictated by the usage of artillery, and the defenders do have a massive advantage, and this is definitely stalling out quite a few attacks, indeed. Not to say that people have not been winning attacks. Anyway, for tonight, we have 3 battles going on right now. So, we have WLBG versus SVS. We have OPC versus CBL, and the one we'll be watching would be CCT versus ECL. Been a while since I've watched an ECL battle. Hopefully they haven't changed very much. As you can see, we got quite a few familiar faces, mostly because I actually know the names. Although this used to be Hugh Janus, so I'm not even sure what happened to his name here. I don't know Rain. I know Mike. He frequently comes into the channel. Kazuyo! I haven't talked to Kazuyo in a very long time. And obviously we have Jean Rima. Huge Man is also another person that I know, but I'm not entirely sure if I'm at one point. I never really conversed with them. I remember their names, but I did think at one point that Huge Man and Huge Anus was the same person. Now it's named Ho Janus. But nevertheless, I do wish ECL luck. They are one of the better teams probably around in this party. But not to say that there are weak that there are weak teams in the category. I definitely do think category C is kind of stacked, while BO something is kind of alone in their group. But nevertheless, I'm gonna wish the guys luck. But I hope you guys enjoy. Did see 2 CCTs just kind of DC there. Hopefully they come back shortly. We do have about a minute before the start. Well, the official start. Actually, no. None of the groups are actually stacked. BODS is by themselves. CBEL is practically by themselves. Not anyone that I really contend with. DVD's not DVD's doing really well, actually. ECL pretty much the strongest. Actually, this is very interesting. I just checked. CCT and ECL are some of the best the 2 best teams here in the C division. ECL not finishing as many matches though. CCT did lose. Who did they lose to? I'm wondering. I don't get to watch every single battle, so I'm not entirely sure if I did get to see a battle between CCT. Makes me wonder. So CTC battles. Let's go have a look. We have nothing here. CCT win here. CCT win there. CCT win against OMG. Who did they lose to? They must have accidentally drawed with somewhere. Not accidentally. Oh wait, no. They lost a point to GW. Okay, so there's the loss there. Okay. So, percentage-wise, that makes no sense, but it also makes sense now. Although it's very hard to track it down. So I'm looking at the CBL website. You get to see the rankings, you get to see the matches and lines up. But for the purpose of the game's percentage wins, it's actually out of all of their battles, whether or not they've been winning. So far, ECL has been 100% win. That means they have won every single one of their battles 2-0, making that a 6-game, making that 6 games that they've won. 6 games? Would that be 6? Would that be 6 matches, or would that just be 6 games? Terminology here is not very clear for the most parts. I wouldn't be surprised. See, a lot of acronyms do come and go. CCT. Gonna check if they were part of a winter tournament. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like they were part of a winter tournament. So the name for the acronym CCT probably doesn't represent something much. But and hello to you, Mask Flamesy. Hope you're in for. I hope we get to watch an exciting battle. Probably my knowledge on some of these teams are probably not as good as I suspect it to be. I do think that ECL would probably dominate this grouping, mainly because I've actually seen a lot of their battles. Not to say that any teams are not putting in effort. But I definitely would love to see what kind of strategy CCT is going to go for. And definitely, I want to see if these guys got something that is a little bit different from what I've seen. I know it's a tall task to do something outside the norm and something completely unique. But nevertheless, I do ask for people to think outside the box and kind of just not do a unit grind. There has been a lot of unit grindings, especially using the ISGs to just purely soak up the damage, and it's been quite saddening. Well, probably not saddening is the right word. It's been quite mundane with the constant repetition of the cycle. I am still wondering now, we are 4 minutes over for the start of the battle, so we are locked up for some reason. Gonna see if there's any reports so now. Nothing's been reported so far, so I think we're on track. Maybe ECL or CCT has asked for a hold. Not sure how long that will last. And speak of the devil and he shall appear. We have the start of the first battle. We're going to take a look at what the lineup for both teams are, hopefully for the best. I mean, like, I have been suspecting that there is kind of, like, only very few units. There are some units that come in and up again. I definitely do think that Shield Maidens come in and out. We definitely get to see a lot of Yan Yidao Cavalry, some Daggerack Lancers, and of course, Fort Russia is the staple pick of nearly every single lineup. Camels have been coming up, and definitely, I mean, like, the staple picks have been the Fortebraccio and the Monks. Monks have kind of been dropping in and out, depending on which team they're coming from. Definitely the ISG does appear quite often, and of course among the cavalry, we did have the camels come in. I did suspect that maybe we would see more Daggerack Lancers, but that is not true. Yanyanao cavalry kind of replacing the Daggerack Lancers with the higher limit, and also able to beat through a lot of things. CCT did look like to have a DC there, kind of like a half split between medium and heavy. CCT probably has probably has more medium armor, but they have one person down, so we could see kind of like a half split for both sides. Looking at the artillery, both sides are probably going in with that flaming comet. Very great disruption. The damage is not that terrific, but the war rockets will definitely make up for it. And of course, if you get hit by a bazillion flaming comets, I don't think there's very many people that can survive getting hit by a dozen or so shots. Each one dealing around about 1,300, 1,800 damage, explosion included. So, I mean, you have to also forget that it is an explosion, so hitting multiple units with a single explosion is quite easy. So I don't think it is as important that the raw damage is lower, but I do think it's very important how many targets you do hit, considering damage multipliers. A single explosion hitting even a dozen or so units can rack up damage much better than a ballista with their one-shot kills. Tagging those ballistas, trying to get them off the field as fast as possible. Probably one of the smart things to do. Every start of the siege is like that. A nice spread out by ECL. ECL does start the attack. Is starting the attack first. We got to climb here on the left-hand side. Probably going to take out some of the artillery on the wall. See if they can capture that right-hand side. We've been seeing a lot of strategies involving the right-hand side. The right-hand side is classically the go-to for nearly every single team. Probably opens up a lot more strategies for them. I do think that the left-hand side is probably more dangerous, but definitely more advantageous. But where there's advantages, there's definitely no shortages of risk. Defenders have a lot of risk kind of staying here on the left-hand side, but dealing with those is probably par for the course, as they've probably trained up a lot. Conceding this right-hand side, there doesn't seem to be very many losses so far. Taking a look at the distribution, we do see a little bit of a leg up for the defending sides in terms of the tier 4. But in terms of the tier 5, we almost see a 90 unit advantage for ECL. So let's see if that comes into play. Whoa! Mr. Roboto, where did you come from? Someone probably just respawned in. I do think the numbers just changed on me there. Did I miscalculate? Well, anyway, not just a slight advantage. It's 120, but the difference made up in the tier 5, so ECL evens out the score, most probably. A lot of monks, do have to remind ourselves, the monks only having a 9 unit, 1/3 of most units, most infantry units. But again, we also have tons of cavalry, don't forget. Especially in the tier 5 zone for ECL. No shortages of cavalry for CCT, though, either. Choosing out some of the more important brace-style camels. You'd be surprised how much damage these guys can push out, considering they can hit up to 5 targets with a single hit. Not to mention, they instantly stagger or CC cavalry once in contact. No doubt, this bombardment is slowly swinging around. I do think ECL has some good positions on the right-hand side, aiming for that backhand supply point section is probably the smartest move, since most defenders would probably congregate next to the area. Only problem is that they do receive quite a few hits back as artillery smashes right into the center. Gotta be careful, as you might lose some more. I do think they did destroy that war rocket. I think I missed it. There was a interesting culverin placement, destroying the front gate with... I think that's a bit overkill. I think one would probably be enough. Didn't really need to place down 3 flaming comets to destroy the front gate. 2 would probably have been enough, but you'd still overkill it. Opening up the base point right now. Do remember that only attackers can destroy these barricades. Defenders cannot open up pathways for themselves. Probably one of the most restrictive things for the defenders are these barricades, which are placed there for their own defense, but can be destroyed by attackers. So it is quite odd. I do think these 2 front palisades can eventually be destroyed. I think it takes quite a they do take quite a bit to destroy, though. Interesting placement for a siege ballista downrange, not to mention a war rocket. Shooting straight off, skewering 3 of the Fortobracios. Unfortunately, not very much else. Swinging around very slowly. Those barricades actually managed to protect. Although that was very strange, since maybe artillery is able to destroy their own barricades instead of using hero damage. So probably immune to hero damage is what I'm probably meant to say. You can use artillery to destroy your own stuff, so probably not unexpected. Though I do think that siege ballista just hitting that barricade into destruction. Divine Crow actually makes it into the back line. That's going to be brutal, as the burning hellscape murders quite a few. Oh, missing the start of a major battle here. Getting Yan Yudao in a very tight squeeze in the back there. Directly onto the supply point. We got some Modaos holding strong. And I do think I have a doorbell ring. Gonna be right back real quick. I'll let you guys view the action.
A walk in the park. A walk in the park. Child's play. Child's play.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry for the... Whew! I did think that would be very difficult for ECL to take the supply point, but they did manage it in the end. Probably didn't get to see all the action, but nevertheless, it's kind of surprising that CCT is still trying to push their way through. These Daggerite Lancers refuses to die. My goodness. Daggerite Lancers storming right through. ECL unable to hold the supply point, but they'll take the they take the A point still. Unable to stabilize their position. It does sound like a stampede of cavalry is still coming through. Now Daggerite Lancers moving on towards the A point. There is nothing here in terms of units for ECL. ECL is getting the heck out of. par for the course, I would
walk
guess.
in the
A
park.
respawn of the defenders straight into cavalry, stampeding down the intruders. Not unexpected, but I do think that a massive respawn not coming in was was whoa. Although I will have to say that I did miss quite a bit, I would say. CCT, how many times did you die? ECL doing a really terrific attack there, but a lot of the members from CCT suffering double deaths here. And it does look like CCT finally got their last member in. How many double deaths are we talking? Does look like 8 double deaths. Wow. Only problem is that even after a massive victory like that, ECL unable to stabilize their position was very unfortunate. Ah, that siege ballista coming back. Oh, never mind, not to bite them. Being very useful right now. Although Memory Alones should get stuck on... Oh. Memory Alones just shatters that siege ballista into oblivion. Ooh, we got some retreating. Fortebraccio does seem to retreat in nice order. ECL still has a big advantage that they can claim right now. Coming in from the backside again. Coming in from the front side as well. We got a fight on 2 fronts right now.
Walk in the park.
Heading towards the supply points, but the A point seems to be the one more defended. The battle is much slower considering the number of people, and Fortebraccio is going downstairs. Probably not my cup of tea. I do think that pikemen going downstairs or up is kind of a hassle. Can't really make use of that awesome range since they don't point downwards. And a flamer just burns out that center of the Fortebraccios. But CCT easily gets handled once the supply point falls, this time in a little bit more secured fashion. I don't think there's very much left for ECL but to clean up once they re-establish the attacking force. I say that as the time does tick down. We got 1 minute 40 seconds to go. It will be a rush for the finish. I do think CCT is going to have to fight on the supply, on the A point in order to win it, but they're also having to look for reinforcement to come in fast. I do think cavalry reinforcement could come in a second time, but it would also be very surprising if the main force here on the A point is able to stay alive. But heroes one by one seem to dive into the center. They do die. We're seeing lots of heroes from ECL dying right now. But a respawn from the front gate does look like it was the pickup they need in order to win the battle here at the A point, even though the A point was completely surrounded. Not very much dominance here on the hero side. And finally, the A point does get taken in the nick of time. Less than 40 seconds to go. CCT probably taking the wrong approach, taking back the supply point and cutting off extra troops coming in. I do think ECL was looking for some deaths in order to respawn at that front gate with new troops, catching out some of the Fortebraccios. The unit difference is staggering now. Both the tier 4s and the tier 5s are in favor of ECL, so if it comes down to a war of attrition, they will win. But it's about a 4-minute game right now. Plenty of artillery's been used. I think ECL is making good use of the artillery. Straight onto the base point, leaving no time for the defenders to reorganize. Using a momentum attack, it does not allow the defenders to get in position at all. Unable to even use the last 4 artillery as ECL solidifies their position here on the base point. Easy victory, I would say, but a very tough A point. Very surprising performance from CCT, but nevertheless, I do think CCT being kind of second in the group is par for the course, but ECL does seem to want to take this quite convincingly, as they literally shotgun every single hero off of this point. Heroes coming in from the backside and jumping onto the base point
Walk in the park.
is quite a challenge, I would say. But that was... You got changed quality? Quality? I gotta change the quality? What happened to the quality? Did my quality drop? It shouldn't. I hope it didn't. Maybe my ISP decided to be like, I'm gonna be nice to you. But as you can see, the first battle was super costly for the defenders here. Almost twice the number of losses. Actually, twice the number of losses for sure coming out from the defenders than they are for attackers. But did see a little bit of a dip back in the push out. This is the push out here. I think the finishing. Then the second attack starting here. Kind of an even trade. Probably the stair section is the Forbracios here dying. And then finally just a extended loss for the final battle. Looking at pretty good performances out from both sides, doing really good work. Fighting till the very end, I would say. Do have to remember though, we do see a little bit higher leadership amount, and we do see quite a few leadership doctrines. So it might look like a lot of really big performance out of everyone, but it's also to do that there is more units to fight for. Definitely less leeway. Less leeway when you need to fight even harder for kind of the extended period of time. In the CBL, it would be difficult to get even three attacks of high intensity, but here in the HLL, the rules are a bit different. We're definitely going to get a lot of attacks, at least 3, I would say, maybe up to 4 good attacks with high tier units. We're coming back again on the White Elk Court. I do think it has been the favorite. Kind of coming in second is Correct Castle. I do think Linwu Fortress is a pick of desperation rather than a choice. A lot of teams do seem to pick Linwu Fortress because of small numbers. Nevertheless, I do congratulate them if they do succeed nonetheless. I do hope CCT does bring this back. They did do a really good effort with their cavalry. I do think cavalry is not only too strong, but definitely underrated in a lot of circumstances. Mainly because even if you have a lot of Forbracios, a lot of Medaus, I think I can plow through it with a bunch of cavalry. Especially the Anyadao cavalry. Those guys are crazy. And I am of the opinion that smashing the enemy with a single hit is terrifying. Not to mention, it feels like they hit before they get hit. Every single time. But, nevertheless, attacking next, CCT. What do you have in store for ECL? ECL's defense the last time was quite solid. I do think Flamers coming in are the staple, but the artillery do seem to either blast them out quite quickly sometimes. So there's the 15v15. We have all 30 players in the game. Let's see if they start up shortly. It looked like one of the ECL's members restart. Maybe they're swapping out. Doesn't look like CCT swapped out any members, but it was lucky that they got their last member in. I was hoping that there would be a 15v15 at all times. One of the sad things about a reconnect is a reconnect comes in with one less. So, one less, when I mean one less, they died, technically. So, they have one less life. It's a bit of a disadvantage. It's still a disadvantage. And it's upsetting that it happened. But nevertheless, yeah, my condolence, CTT doing a really good job for getting back the A point. Kind of surprising, though. I did think that ECL probably had their chance to solidify that supply point before going on to the A point, but unable to defeat or even manage against that number of Daggerack Lancers is probably not their fault. I do think that I do think the number of Daggerack Lancers coming in was extraordinarily dangerous for a respawn anyway. Even if you had a 15-man pool of Forteracios, because all the Forteracios are all stacked on top of that supply point. If you had cavalry coming in from every single direction, you probably would not be able to brace them in time before they just get slaughtered. But that is a guess theory or whatnot. Here we are on the second battle on White Elk Fort. Does seem like a quadruple loadout of tier 4s coming out from CCT. We do get a couple of double tier 5s with a tier 4. Not a big jump in cavalry being on the attacker's side, but we still see a lot of Forbracios. I'm surprised to see so much shield units, in fact. Got some Memilones and the Imperial Spearguard. There goes another DC. We have a couple of interesting picks. We got these ball throwers coming out for ECL. Only 2 Siphonatis coming from CCT. Could probably backfire, but they can definitely make up for it with artillery. I don't think units are any weaker than an artillery, especially since we have the Falconettis and the Siphonatis that do amazing with a massive sweep with their fire and their cannonballs. I don't see the need to bring them either if you just use an epic artillery. So there's that as well. Ooh, a little bit jaggy as everything loads in. But here we are. CCT takes a little bit of a spread out approach again. Probably going to go mount up the walls. Uses their trebs and misses. That's really depressing. Can we get the last 2? Yes. One of the trebs actually land directly on top of that, on top of the ballista. Very unfortunate if it hit nothing. The opening moments of the battle is always very interesting. It has to do with setup, and it also has to do with a lot of avenues. One of the more interesting parts is always this front gate destroying the battering ram. An interesting approach. I never really understood why destroying the battering ram in this case was better than just shooting off the serfs. You can easily have a musket unit just shoot down anything on top of the battering ram. But I do think as well, similar to the siege towers, the battering ram are still very important siege engines to take advantage of. But in this case, we don't see anyone trying to destroy the siege towers in this case, and I'm quite skeptical about how these birds decide. We do see ECL using the birds. Although there was nothing there, good thing to destroy it. I have seen a couple of teams suffer badly. That is a legendary Divine Crow. And hits directly onto this supply point. So imagine if you were there and your unit got hit by that Divine Crow. The burn damage can be quite insane as it ticks through very fast. Obviously, CCT easily takes the right-hand side as ECL basically lets them through. Control of the front gate is also very awesome right now. Destroying the battering ram is a surefire way to make sure that the attackers don't break down the front gate very easily. But I'll be honest with you, it would probably be better to destroy the front gate with artillery. I would definitely destroy it with artillery, but it's not closed right now, so that's also a good thing. For the defenders, using the open and close mechanic in order to to defend the door from artillery snipe, and also make sure they can destroy the battering ram so they don't have easy access into the city. We got some longbows, in fact. Very surprised that, whoa! Rice's horse gets macked-a-roon. I'm pretty sure it's going to take a while for the... it's going to take a while for those bows to actually kill anything. Going inside the front gate, pretty much a smart move to defend yourself against some rogue range as they're shooting towards Rice here. Rice might die. Or not. Using that fire shotgun, using the flame arrow shotgun, I have seen people's horses instantly die from a triple bolt, since it does full damage from all three. Though it also causes an instant dismount as well. So maybe the horse gets dismounted and saved. Whoa, we got a wall rocket! On the ground? Nope, on the wall here. Destroy those... Destroying those culverins. But I think it's pretty safe to say that you could probably shut the front gate for now. Let's see if CCT tries to break through the front gate. Don't think they'll waste their time in the don't waste their time at the present. It's actually quite impressive, the number of shield units out for CCT, but it also is a little bit detrimental for CCT. Shield units are not classically really good with assault, or shock tactic, that is. Myrmidons have one of the best charges in the game, but they can't really continue it. Do have some positions of cavalry outside the front gate, outside the walls, which is an interesting position. I would definitely be wary as CCT, especially if you get some guys from behind, but they're just cavalry, so they can't get up onto the wall. One of the difficult things here on the left-hand side is really surviving, as you're getting pressured pretty heavily here. We got some nice mortar shots coming onto this left-hand wall, but we'll try to fire back. Where we going? Got some epic mortars. Doesn't succeed in hitting. Do think it takes a while to train down those mortars. Could look for a fast approach rather than a slow approach. We got CCT mounting up for... Whoa! Pulling back there. I hear a lot of artillery going off, and it's always very surprising. What's also very surprising here is that, like, I would just put a mortar just right here and just fire right there. Like, destroy it. Super easy. But there's a mortar right there, actually, so I'd actually get mortared out. One of the toughest thing here, and one of the best thing here for the defenders right now, is the slow grind. Every moment that the enemy is suppressed by artillery is a moment wasted. Camels have to be very careful as they get lit on fire. They will die very fast. As you can see, they are already dying from the burn damage. Unfortunately, unable to shore up. not cataphracts. The Chevaliers run straight through. Very surprising, run straight through even for the Rashios. But cavalry comes in for a reversal. Didn't expect the artillery to kind of make a mess down here. Although it probably was the monks, really. I don't think they'll be able to continue the battle, though. Front gate is closed. Those that are inside probably going to see a massive respawn from ECL. Well, probably a supply switch rather than a respawn. But a couple of guys have died from either side, so I definitely wouldn't suspect that. Ooh, front gate gets opened! But it's a massive cavalry, a bit too late, able to stabilize their position. A massive one rushes, but the number of cavalry coming through is barely enough to break. But reinforcement from ECL do come through. Double Yanyudao cavalry swiping and annihilating. CCT does keep sending in some camels. Camels not so great, although they do make a mess of things. Not very much damage. We got some Portabrashios here on the corner. Probably make some quick, short work with those camels. The continued assault is costly, but maybe they're trading efficiently. Let's take a look. That would be negative. Trades are going in favor of ECL, and it's ticking ever so more as time goes on. One by one, charging in headlong. CCT unable to make a beachhead as they continuously get psycho charged by the Yanyudao cavalry from ECL. And ECL getting just enough pikemen to the front line here to kill off the remaining cavalry. Although through cannon fire or artillery fire, they are doing an amazing job right now at keeping CCT out, and especially murdering their heroes. Their heroes definitely suffering some pain, as quite a few of them have died. But nevertheless, I do think equal exchange from both sides with heroes dying. Getting tickled by these longbow, even though he's alone, it'd still be very difficult to catch him. 3 minutes to go, and lots of artillery still to be used. We have 11 artilleries from ECL and 23 artilleries from CCT. And here comes the difficult part. You really cannot afford to slow down CCT. Need to get some artillery in placement, need to take shots, need to fire shots. Really need to take out the artillery from the defenders, or at least out-muscle them with artillery, because the longer you wait, the more solidified ECL becomes, and they're responding aggressively with some proactive attacks onto sections of your army. Unable to beat them back, though. Whoa, maybe they did! Nice grenade shot straight onto that Shield Maiden. Though Shield Maidens are tough, they're not exactly invincible. Walking straight into a spread out Portabrashio is not the smartest thing I've ever do. Well, anyone would ever do. Off to a bad start already. ECL is getting burnt from two directions and definitely losing out on that counterattack just now. We do have a lot more Portabrashios on the field for ECL, though. Could see this right-hand side push in more after the reinforcements from the Shield Maidens, but cavalry coming up behind them. I don't think the Portabrashio is going to survive. Shield Maiden's still there, but is easily surrounded right now. Not very much reinforcements coming from CCT, as people from the front gate are going to come through. Question mark? Actually, I don't think very many people were ready at the front gate. Most of the guys were already inside, dying out, and right now, CCT easily gets shut out. Front gate control is probably unfortunate for CCT. I don't think they are terribly weak, but I do think the defense from ECL does make it difficult to break through. And I do think the defenders, with the changes to artillery, will have quite a big advantage moving forward, burning out the attackers, using more artilleries than the attackers in most cases. In this case, CCT did use 30, in this case, 25 for the defenders. But efficiency-wise, I do think the defenders will have a much better time. 20 seconds left, and ECL tries their sally out. Let's see if they get trebbed as they... Whoop, here comes a treb. We got some Alberdiers charging through. Alberdiers get smacked with a big one. Nope. Camels at the front here. Camels also caught a daze attack, but they're very tanky, but they cannot win against numbers. That is the end of the second battle. And congratulations to ECL. I definitely did think that you'd win, but I also definitely thought that CCT would probably put up a better fight. Though I can't really get past the fact that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people here coming out with the Marshal rank. That border is special because you need to get reach Marshal rank. Regardless, good performance from both sides still, although a little bit weaker from CCT this time, and mainly due to the fact that I do think a real struggle for supremacy is one due to the being on the defenders or attackers. If CCT was a little bit more aggressive in their own defense, maybe they could have caught ECL out. But here, being on the attack, the aggressive defense from ECL definitely led to CCT not really prepping properly, and definitely leading to lots of errors from CCT coming in at a massive disadvantage. They traded very well at the beginning, but I definitely do think that the time pressure was too significant, making them come in at bad times. But I do think it was kind of strange that here at the end, it did look like they might have picked up a little bit and pressured, but turns out it didn't. I thought CCT picked up at the end instead of at the front. So they traded evenly here, which was very weird to me, and then ended up losing massively here at the end. But I thought it was, but maybe it's because I didn't see both sides. That is when ECL tried to do a small counterattack on the stairs thing. But nevertheless, good job, both teams. It was fun to watch, and I definitely do think we have much to expect from this new format. Although I am disappointed the decision that was made for the artillery, the format to use doctrines and hero. Well, personally, like overall, it's kind of fun for the most part to watch people kind of mid-max their units and things, but it becomes very difficult when we don't establish the limit or variation of the heroes and units. So I can't really tell how strong a unit is anymore. I really gotta look deep into it. But that's the House Legion League. I definitely do think CBL is a much better format, and a fairer format. Not to say that I can really tell who has advantage and who doesn't have advantage with the format here on the live server. I just wanted to put it down that I do disagree with the changes to this format compared to the CBL version. With that being said, it will be about 15 minutes before the start of the next set, so I'm gonna have a 10-minute break, and I'll catch you guys shortly. But what are we watching? Okay, so turns out we were supposed to be watching KF versus Eon, but it's going to be BODS versus BLK. Only problem is that that is probably the only battle that's happening, so I won't be able to get in and view it as a spectator. So I'm going to have to be using the I'm going to probably be using the observer mode. So hopefully you guys can catch me with that. And hello, Jean Rima. Congratulations on winning against CCT. And I told you, easy victory. Easy victory. Clap them faces. You clapped them pretty fast, man. In all honestly, like, you didn't really look like you were struggling for the most part. Probably a little bit stressed for time there on the beginning of your attack, but once the spent CTT, the amount of resources they kind of dumped into your first attack was unprecedented. Not to mention they kind of, well, not kind of, really, 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 really failed on their defense on your second assault. But nevertheless, really good job on your defense as well. I definitely do like the aggressive approach with your artillery, with your units themselves. I don't think they really gave them very much breathing room at all in order to kind of prep for their own attack. One of the biggest things about artillery is it's normally really good for the attackers because they have more available to them, but with so many available for the defenders, they can really pressure the attackers in ways which were much to pressure the attackers much more heavily than I've ever seen them do before. So, anyway, I'll catch you guys in a few. We're going to be watching the BODS versus BLK in observer mode, of course. So, not going to be watching it through. I can't be watching it through in-game spectator. And again, congratulations. I wish you luck for the rest of the House Legion League. Wondering if you have any more battles. I am watching your battle tomorrow, in fact. Funniest thing about tomorrow, John Rima, is all of the battles in the at 8 o'clock are actually cancelled. So there's no battles, and so we'll probably the stream's going to be fairly short. And that's actually your last battle for the scoring phase. You were supposed to face off Whack on the 21st, which didn't end up happening. I did hear about definitely did hear about a disqualification coming out from WAK. If you don't mind, you can explain it to me in chat. I'll probably be around, of course, in chat, but I'm gonna have a short break as I do a little bit of housekeeping. Be right back.